Hello, everybody. I'm Jen, and this is my partner, Sean. I thought we'd share a video about, the current of life we're moving through in this season of when we're both creating, um, I guess, work that is rooted in our hearts, which can often come up against a lot of our conditionings and our stories and what would be conventional and convenient, and challenges all the paradigms through which we've built foundations on before we came together to create and um, build a family system that we're excited to run toward and live in and inhabit. And so, Sean and I can sometimes be like passing ships, and we have two children under 5, and so also he has a job that requires him to be away from the home 2 days a week. And so there's a lot of layers that move through what we desire, and also the tending of the family that we love, the family we create, but also the undercurrent of tension that flows through it all, and how to be with that in a way that doesn't become a wall we're up against, but rather a wisdom that brings us closer to our truth and how to live it.
Nice. That was nice.
Anyway, here we are, and I thought we would have just share a real conversation with you about what that is like for us. And we kind of plan this on a whim, so we're not very prepared, but sometimes that's the best way to just be, is to be in the moment. So does anything come through for you when you think about that? Because the newsletter that I'm sharing with the community is about that tension, and how creative mothers or stay-at-home mothers, mothers in general, single moms, well, I can speak for myself, but in conversation with other moms, is there's this whole other life that exists inside the woman that is the mother, the human being, the mother,
Hmm.
that feels like it almost needs to be put on the back burner in order to tend to her children. And sometimes when we tend to those longings, guilt is what comes up, or shame, or
Hmm.
um, even a bit of fear, really, but
Hmm.
like really just this like organizational mess of like, how do I meet both? Is it possible? Do I have to, you know,
Yeah.
get rid of one of my creative endeavors just for now? And like, there's no right or wrong, but yeah, what comes up for you?
Well, from my perspective, as like like a man, the masculine role is the most important thing for me in supporting you was the decision to take off your plate the feeling that you had to contribute financially.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't want that to be a felt sense of obligation. That if you can like remove yourself from having to, your old job of being a hairdresser, and being able to focus this without the thinking or the guilt or shame of not contributing to, you know, our income as a family, that was, to me, that felt good for me to do, to take that off your plate, take the weight off your plate, as far as like, you don't need to contribute, because as a mother, your contribution far outweighs any amount of money that I could ever bring
Mm-hmm.
as a mother. And so, and I didn't always feel like that. And you can attest to that. Like
Yeah.
it was hard for me
Mm-hmm.
to, in the past, it was like I always grappled, like, we're not going to have enough and I need help to pay the
And
bills.
that's sometimes still real. I don't mean to interrupt, but those, that can still come
Sure,
up.
the thought of that comes up, but it's not from a place where I'm not getting enough from you as
Mm.
far as financial things. So like, I see it now as an honor and a privilege to be able to like support you in a way where you don't feel obligated to like have to support financially. That part is free,
Yeah.
freeing you to like chase your heartfelt passion of what you want to do. And as far as balancing motherhood and that, I think you're doing an amazing job.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of courage to develop that sort of discernment. And I will say, I admire and adore you for that desire to take that emotional load off my plate. But what might you tell anybody that's listening to this when you know damn well you can't take away someone's emotional load. You can support them through it, which is what you've done to me, for me, sorry, which allows me the capacity to meet those in different ways. Like support means everything. And I will say, even as he says this to me, there's a reality of like, I have mother guilt and I have shame around some of those choices. And I remember this quote by Joe Hudson that said shame. It was a quote Joe Hudson used by Adyashanti, which said, shame is a lock that keeps bad habits in place. And sometimes, in spite of this support, it's hard to shut that part off. And sometimes that's just like an imprint in our nervous system from maybe our own conditionings or environments we were surrounded in growing up. So I love that. And it's such a privilege to have that in our partnership. But I'm wondering for you, I guess, what might you offer a mom or a partner that's listening to this when they know, like, I want to be able to do that, but like my partner can't be convinced. It's like a tough thing for me to believe sometimes.
Can you explain that again? What am
I guess sometimes it's hard for me to accept, and maybe that's a me question, but sometimes it's hard for me to just, it's not enough to say like, I want to take that emotional load off of you so that you don't have to worry about financially providing.
Yeah.
But the guilt still arises. So how do I, like within the partnership, I'm not asking you, how do I fix that part of me? Not that it needs fixing, but
yeah. Well, for me, it's like, like the greatest compliment I guess I could give you is like the fact that I know what we're doing now is going to work out. Like this is like,
how do you know?
Because it can't not.
How do you know that?
Because everything always works out.
How do you know? Where does that come from? Like, where is that felt in your body when you say that? Like,
because you can't, anything led from the heart, anything that is like pure and true is always going to result in something that you either expected or greater than. I 100% believe that. And I have all the evidence in my life to show that. And although it might be scary because we can't see it right away, it's like the work that you're doing now, and I even say work, it's just like the frequency that you are emanating, the vibration, who you are becoming, the results cannot not be shown to you. It might take time, and this is like the struggle time. This is the time where, like, analogy, if like you're in the gym and you're lifting the weights and you're breaking down the muscles, it's difficult, it's challenging, we feel weak, but it's through that challenge and struggle where the results will be shown downstream. They can't not be.
yeah.
Like if you're leading yourself with your heart, and I know you are because you love what you do, and you're contributing, and you have an honest intention of wanting to help others and to lift others and create a ripple effect where we're raising the level of consciousness through the whole world, which is what we're doing for our children, for ourselves, for everyone that we interact with, then the universe can't help but receive that and give back. It's like physics to me. It's like reciprocity.
Yeah. But here's something that comes up for me when you speak to that, and I love that because I believe you, because I live with you, and I also know that we experience and continue to experience proof of that in our relationship. But remember when I had to leave my day job?
You didn't have to.
I mean, I didn't have to, but so I was a hairdresser for 17 years, and this provided a resource for us, not a huge one by any means, but I felt the call to do this at a time when our mortgage doubled because we had gone from a condo to a townhouse, and it like took a lot of inner work and just sitting in the arena of our stories and patterns around finances and safety and all these things. But also an added layer to that was like, Sean, I think I need to leave my hairdressing job. Like I just felt like there was no alignment, but the work family was great. It was a great small business company to work for. Like I still am in contact with everyone there. But what I want to bring to reality is like the quiet grief that comes with having to release things that are actually working. And you can argue that like, well, actually it wasn't working because it didn't feel aligned. But like I could have continued to go on and it would have provided something, even if very little. But I just wonder, have you ever faced that for yourself where you were like, we don't talk about the things we have to let go of that are actually like working. We're always used to orienting towards it clearly wasn't a great fit, so you leave it and that makes it easy. But I wonder if maybe beneath that someone said to me, maybe it's not that you're afraid to leave your day job as it is having to let it go, like the emotional experience of actually what comes with making that decision.
Yeah. I think also because it's so familiar, and then you say it's working, it's familiar and it's like a safety net. You know you could always rely on it. You can always fall back on it. And so having to let go of something that was so safe and familiar is scary. But I assert that that space, that safety and familiar part was taking up is only going to block anything else that wants to come in. It's going to prevent it from coming in. So once you free up that, like you have the courage to remove the safety net, to remove that something that's so familiar, then that's going to allow, that space is going to allow what you really want, what you're really aligned to, what you're really heartfelt and targeted towards to come in.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the fear comes. But I think it's a necessary step to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
To bring into what you want to bring in. And that's why I was so not adamant, but like encouraging and inviting for you to like absolutely let it go without worry, because I don't want the stress of anything financial. Let me carry that burden. I want you to be free to pursue what you want with your heart fully open without any fear. And that's because that's what it's going to take. That's the most direct through line, is no fear.
Yeah. Well,
and it's like kind of like that. Sorry, one more thing.
Yeah.
That analogy where like I felt if you hung on to hairdressing even just a little bit, like one couple shifts a week, that would kind of tether you a little bit to that false sense of security, like that safety net, like almost like I'm kind of going for this dream, but I'm always kind of tethered to something so familiar. By severing it completely, you're like burning the ships to take the island. There's no going back, and I don't want any going back for you. I want this safety net gone, so you are fully committed into what you want to do. And it's like that story of Sylvester Stallone. I told you that when he had the script for Rocky, and he was denied, and he said it would never work and he could never star because he was like not thought of as like an actor, and he refused to get a job because he knew that would be the end of his dream. And he was down. He sold his dog, his favorite dog, to get money to feed for himself. And then finally he doubled down on himself. Finally someone took his script and accepted it. And when it blew up and it became the sensation it was, he went back and bought his dog for $15,000 from the old guy he sold it to.
Oh, I didn't know the dog part.
Well, it's big. It just shows how much he believed in himself to not fall back onto an old familiar trade of getting a 9-to-5 job to support himself, because he believed in what he wanted to do. And that's kind of what I wanted to provide for you. Okay,
but what if someone doesn't have that sort of support?
Like you're talking about like the support that I'm trying to give?
Yeah, like a support of a partnership, or like that's lovely, that's amazing, and there is. It's great. I could attest to that support is game changing. It's akin to not just a lover, but like when my mom helps me out with the kids, just having that extra nervous system, I can literally feel spaciousness where I don't feel so like managing like two little nervous systems on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And so to not to echo, but to follow up on what Sean is saying is that I quit that job in January, at the end of January, and it's now at the beginning of March. And mind you, it's only been like just over a month, but it's tricky because it's like nothing tangible has taken place,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes time, just
Mm-hmm.
like when you plant a seed and it harvests fruit or flowers or plants, or you know, the conception of a child, and all these things that quietly happen in the background that cannot be measured through our likes and through our followers and all these things. And but the reality is, like, some people might be listening to this that
Yeah.
don't have access to that.
Right.
And I think about that too, because like, how do you, what might you,
Well, the support ultimately is going to come within, and it has to come with a belief. Like going back to Sylvester Stallone, he didn't have support,
right?
but he had a belief in himself
Yeah,
to let go of an old version of himself. He refused to get the job because he had so much faith and belief in himself. So
Yeah.
it takes an act of courage
yeah,
to take massive action, to take steps towards your dream. You might not have the concrete support of like someone financially backing you, and that's okay, because the real support is going to come within.
yeah. It reminds me of something my friend Emma shared with me, because I was telling her, like, sometimes when I write, I don't care who receives it, because I really am writing for me, but I do care. I do actually care, and that's okay. But what she was saying was like the receiving comes from the giving. The receiving comes from the courage to share. And yeah, I think about how our beliefs can shape our availability to life, and our beliefs lend to shaping the experiences life reflects back to us. So I can hear what you're saying, and that the support can come from within, because ultimately from that choice it starts to shift a frequency in which there's a ripple that's set out beyond what, and we live proof of this, but beyond what our logical mind can linearly plan or conjure up. It's such an, wouldn't you say, like, it's such an embodied feeling to
Yeah.
to inhabit this idea that, like, you feel is, it's coming from your heart, but it's also deeply anchored to something bigger than you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a calling.
Yeah. And when you say belief, I would even say before the belief is like the identity we create around the original wound, the identity we have created for ourselves. That's what creates the belief. That's what creates our thoughts and feelings, our actions, behaviors, and then our results. So the cascade would go all the way to changing our identity around who we think we are.
Right. And our identity is shaped from in utero, like from
Yeah.
so early on. And so, yeah, is there anything you would add to help sort of, like, anything you'd offer that comes up for you in terms of this piece that I'm sharing, which we're attaching this conversation with, is to the creative mother that desires to create or follow her dreams while quietly doubting herself, or maybe feeling like she has to choose. And I am in real time living that path of noticing how meeting both and how my life all intersect in the way through which I relate to these pieces that truly light up my heart. And also further creating a legacy for my children that they can witness within myself and our partnership about what it means to welcome ourselves whole without having to exile any part of us that feels like maybe you're not ready to meet. And yeah, I remember this quote that I read in a book, and it was about how, like, the no path will teach you so much that the path that feels like the way cannot. And so sometimes in this season of creation where it's like feels like nothing's taking place, but yet everything is behind the scenes or energetically, I feel that it's just like sometimes I feel like I'm not on the path, and it's like a mind fuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't push that thought away. I just welcome it. And usually it's paired with this story that insist that I should be somewhere else, when really, like, that is just resistance to the moment of the in between, and the in between is also important. It takes time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm wondering if there's anything you want to wrap this up with in terms of, like, maybe your perspective through being the partner and the support in that sense.
Yeah. And I get the feeling of feeling like you should be somewhere other than where you are. And I'm sure it's common with every human being that's ever walked this earth.
I mean, also we're 40 and 50, so it's just like, sometimes that linear age feels like, holy shit, I'm 42 and what am I, like, is it too late? What am I doing?
No, for sure.
And in Chinese medicine, your 40s is like the infancy of the second half of your life.
Yeah.
So.
Doesn't matter where you are, that's where you are.
Right.
Like, you can't be anywhere else other than where you are. And having that acceptance is like a huge part of it. But to go back to like the identity shifting and beliefs, like if you have even of a spark of interest to change, and this is like the difference, is like a lot of people want change, but not many people want to change. And it's a slight play on words, but the significance between the two is massive. If you want to change, then that's when shit can happen. And you can attest, and I can attest through all the work that we've done to get to where we are now, to where we are actually doing the work to create something for ourselves, fully like responsible for our reality. Like, you've hired many coaches, you've been in workshops, you've taken courses, and I've done the same. So this identity shift and this kind of conscious awareness doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with a willingness to want to. That's what I would have to offer. If someone's like saying, well, how do I ever get to where you're at? You start right where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go from there. And the biggest mistake that we make is thinking that we have to be somewhere special where we are, like comparing to where someone else is. And I've done it, you've done it, we still do. But you can't be anywhere else other than where you are. And that's a great starting point. And to having the willingness to want to change yourself is the first step to create the reality that you want to see in the world.
Yeah. And
does that answer your question?
It does. But I also felt something come up in my body when you're speaking, all of which you said is very true. And if you're someone like us that loves to learn, and we love to engage with other coaches and people in our field that are offering or sharing this type of work in the world, is that I guess you eventually get to a place where you have to trust yourself. And that sometimes when you feel like you don't know what to do, it's not that you don't know what to do. It might be that you are afraid to do what you know deep down you're feeling called to explore, which again circles back to the beginning of what we're talking about, which was sometimes it's like an emotional experience that you're not quite ready to meet, and that's okay. And you don't have to hire all the people and seek out all the things to help you. I think I agree with Sean in that it begins with that internal choice to change, and there's so many free resources out there that can help you get started. Mm-hmm. Because we
started by reading books.
We started by reading books and watching YouTubes, and honestly, I've DM'd lots of people, and it's so nice to meet the human on the other side of those not meet, but like interact with the human on the other side of those conversations. And you'd be surprised what life will connect you with when you're willing to take a risk on yourself and take a chance. And we're still experiencing that unfolding, and it's full of glimmers.
Totally. Yeah, there's
and hard stuff too, but
for sure. And like with the decision stuff, like what is it? Analysis creates paralysis. Like, you can't really, on any path, if you're like heartfelt towards it, you can't really fuck it up. Just make a decision, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, it's experiential. You learn from it. At least you're trying. You're moving in the right direction. And there's no greater investment that you can ever do is an investment for yourself. I would also say that as well. because it's not always expensive, it's expansive. It's true.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I know.
Like shit I was like, when I first started hiring people to help me, or groups and master classes and shit, it's like, it's fucking expensive, but like,
So is drinking every weekend.
it's-
So is buying
exactly.
coffee every day.
Yeah,
So
it's an exchange, you know, like,
yeah. It all adds up,
All
and you
adds
get
up.
to choose how you invest your currency, your attention, your energy, an actual current in which energetic pathways become available to us that will either guide us towards what we say we desire or keep us further away from them or in the same place. And again, none of it is right or wrong. It's just what feels aligned for you.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I think this was nice. This was a nice conversation. We didn't have a plan for it, so it feels really good to share this
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah, we should do this more often.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're like passing ships right now. So sometimes this is what connecting looks like, but it feels good to be able to share it with strangers on the interweb.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see how this is received.
Right. Well, thank you so much for sharing this time with us if you've made it this far. And we're so grateful that you've chosen to. And we hope you have a beautiful day or weekend wherever this finds you.
Like, follow, and subscribe.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Goodbye.